All right. I am happy to see you guys. It is Tasty Tuesday and looking forward to it already. Wow, you guys popped in right on the nose. Let's go. Hey Dustin, good to see you, man. Silverlock, Peter, T Squared, Muskie Ace, Daniel. All right, man. Yeah, let me get my invite set up here and send that on its way. How you guys doing? What are you guys sipping? Hopefully something good. We're going to start off with something a little different. Tonight is going to be I guess we'll call it one second. I thought I had that right. Caribbean night, I guess you call it. We're doing a couple rum pipe casks. The first one is going to be the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve. It's an NAS 40%. That part is kind of, I'm not sure how I feel about it, but we're also going to look at the Glenfiddich 21 Reserve Rum Cask finish, but sadly, it is also at 40%. But I see a trend, so maybe it'll be a decent comparison to, what you could get for a good rum cask. We've also had some other ones we'll talk about too. Black Box Springbank 2015. It's amazing. Welcome, Indy Indigot, and T Squared as well. Hey, Andrew, good to see you. I don't have these whiskeys, but I did find my sample of Glenfiddich Fire and Cane, which is bourbon peated rum. Yeah, that's a good one actually too. I enjoyed it. I do like some of these sweeter drams that we sometimes find ourselves with. I wasn't huge on the drum by Ardbeg as much because I think, looking for more. It was underwhelming, I guess, is not like a bad dram, but just kind of just not really as good as I was hoping it would be for my taste. Good to see you, Juan. Aloha there, Hawaii, and Donner Pass. Good to see you as well, man. We're hopping already. Yeah, looking forward to taking a look at both of these with you guys. What are some of your favorite rum casks whiskeys? Don Holland, good to see you. Missed the last few weeks election season and aftermath. Time for a dram. Yeah. Now I know the feeling, man. I've had to lately just keep the news off. It's been so depressing lately. I just, between all the stuff going on, I'm just like, man, it would be nice just to tune out of the back and forth for a while and just, I don't know, try to agree on something. That's what it's all about. And talking about agreements. Hey, what's up, man?
Telex, what's going on, buddy?
Oh, just so happy it's finally Tasty Tuesday, and
It sure is.
Long weekend. It just flew by.
Good, man. Nice to see you, man. What's up, fam? How's everybody doing? We got a nice chat already, man. We got folks in. Great. Good to see you.
Yeah, as soon as 9 o'clock hit, man, the floodgates were open. They just piled on like a Super Bowl pile on. It was crazy.
There you go. Good, man. How are you? Otherwise, good?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Looking forward to sinking our teeth into some rum cask finishes.
Yeah, man.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. What you got there? Oh,
our Glenlivet friend that we're going to be starting with. I'm going to just get some in the glass here and get us ready for this.
Yeah, I just poured a little bit myself just right before I pushed the engage button. So this has been just on for a few minutes, but it's going to be
good.
Have you had a lot of experience already with Scotch / I'm not sure if you see any bourbon with rum cask finishes, that kind of thing, but
yeah, I mean, that's a good prompt, man. And I'd love to hear in the chat if folks have specific rum cask finished scotches or bourbons or any spirit whiskeys for that matter that they're big fans of.
I agree with that one, definitely. That's a really good one.
Yeah. So it's a short list. In terms of rum, so I've had the Pike Creek Canadian, which has a rum finish as a €10. I thought that was actually quite good. the Balvenie 14, which I think Daniel just mentioned, I think is probably the standard bearer of like, accessible priced, good quality rum finished or rum matured scotches that I've had. I've done the Ardbeg Drum, which I thought was kind of a real bummer. My general feeling is that it doesn't quite do it for me, and which is why I'm really excited to try this Glenfiddich 21 tonight, because I've just, I should mention too, like bourbon, like I've had the rye, the Angel's Envy rye finished in rum. And again, it's like sweet on sweet. It didn't quite do much for me, which is why I was so excited about the Ardbeg, because I thought like the sweetness of the rum working with that, like, earthy maritime kind of road car note that you get off Ardbeg would work well. I didn't think it worked well at all. It was quite disappointing. So it's been mixed, man. And there's really just not that many. I know there's like a Springbank 15 out there. I've not had that one, but
this one sounds good too. I'd never heard of that one, but I bet that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
The Hazelburn 14 rum.
How about you?
Silverlock sipping on a Jamaican rum from finished from High West. That sounds good. I have had, like you said, and I'll agree. I'm not sure if I guess I mean, suck is kind of a rough term. Like the drum to me didn't suck per se, that it was underwhelming. I don't think it necessarily tasted bad. Like sometimes you get a bad taste, but it was very underwhelming. It didn't meet expectations, and
it fell apart underwater. At least I thought the community was really, it was like, I don't know. I didn't find much to like about it. I definitely not like it. I of course would drink it. It's not bad. It's an Ardbeg. I don't think there's really that many bad Ardbegs, but like the drum just, it underwhelmed significantly. I mean, I just felt like it was disjointed. It lacked, like, I wonder if it would have been maybe a little better with a more age, but I think it was a miss for them for sure. I mean, they redeemed themselves with the black for sure, but it was a miss.
I thought so too. I mean, it was kind of an initial sweet, nice steal, and I'm a sucker for a sweet dram. That's kind of my kryptonite with some of this stuff. But I remember having a Tomatin that was pretty decent for a rum cask, and I think a Springbank does a pretty nice rum cask. But that's the only ones that stick out. I've never had this one before, and I never had the other one that we're having, the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve. Never tried that one either.
I'm really looking forward to that.
I think you pretty much nailed it with it. Seems like that the governor, the one that you rated always kind of against is probably that Balvenie 14 Caribbean cask, is probably the most well-known rum cask finish that we all, or maturation that we're.
Yeah, it was my first one. It was the first Balvenie I bought, and I think it's solid. It's really good. It works well with their distillate, and I thought it was good.
I wonder what Dustin, what do you think about that Balvenie one? Is that up to snuff? I was asking Dustin what he thought about the Balvenie 14, because he didn't seem to like really any of the rum cask finishes. So I'm wondering if that one is at least decent enough. But he's got this 19 Springbank, but it tastes like a bourbon finish to him. Huh?
Interesting.
That's surprising.
Before we dive into this, have you got anything new in the last week that sitting on the new shelves over at the Telex Den?
Not yet on the new trigger, but we've been talking about some new things that we've kind of pulled the trigger on together. Eric found a bunch of bottles already. A really nice Lefroy Carriages 2015. That'll be nice to see.
Yeah,
we'll be doing the what was the other two?
The other two, the Craig Alecky 23 cast strength and the Craigenmore 20.
Yeah, the Craigenmore 20 is going to be really nice too. That's another. I think it is cast strength in that one too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think so too.
It's going to be really nice. I'm always trying to find like an official bottle that's a high age and a high ABV if I can find it. I got my eyes on an Eberfeldy exceptional cask, kind of the same series that Craig Alecky does. They're the same owners. And Elberfeld's got a 20-year-old. That's a cask strength that I might sink my teeth into down the road a bit. But I've actually got a really good idea. You're on a sale for Highland Park Fire and Ice, and also the Light and Dark for like almost $100 off. So I'm kind of, after I get you settled on that ones you just got picked up, I think I might snag those. Because I am a collector of Highland Park, and it's hard to pass up stuff like that. If you
no, for sure. I've never had either of those either.
You never had the Fire and Ice or the Light and the Dark?
No, I haven't had any of those. So
all four?
Yeah, no, I haven't had.
Oh shit, dude. Okay, well I'll hook you up then.
Yeah. Good deal.
I've luckily enough to I've tasted all four, and the good news is all four are pretty damn good. So
yeah, I bet. I've especially heard a lot of good things about the Dark. But as you know, like I have. I mean, even this week too. I've got a ton of new stuff, which I think is going to be a lot of fun to drink as we head into the year. I got a list here. So I've picked up Glenfarclas 15, the Balvenie 12-year-old Sweet Toast of American Oak.
Ooh, that's a good one.
2020 Tawny Port, the 14-year-old, that Tawny Port release.
Nice.
I grabbed a Edgerdour Signatory. It was like I think the 2008. I got a Octomore 6.1 and an Octomore 2.3.
Those are going to be good. I've been lucky enough to try the 6.1, but I've never had the 6.3, so that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's really delicious. I couldn't help but crack it open already.
Oh,
I got a couple of those new Compass Box 20th anniversaries. I got the Felicitas, the Hedonism Felicitas.
Yeah, I saw that on the list. I was like, ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah, I also grabbed the Peat Monster Arcana, which is another one of those, which will be cool, and a Spice Tree Extravaganza.
Wow, man.
So excited. We'll do a little Compass Box 20th anniversary show, I'm thinking. Yeah, there's still a few more. I got the Anok Peat Heart, which is going to be a lot of fun. I got a Glenmorangie Campanta, which is the private edition from 2014.
Oh yeah, dude, that's going to be solid. If you don't keep that bottle, definitely I'll take it from you.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'll definitely give you. Oh, got a Tobermory 12.
Oh, nice. We'll also be doing a Tobermory 21 with that down the road.
We do the Tobermory show. A couple more. I got a Ben Riach 19-year-old ex-bourbon peated cask, 1994.
Damn.
A Glenallachie 14-year-old single cask. It's part of this like trilogy series they did for this liquor store in the UK. It's supposed to be fantastic. It's a it's like 60% ABV. It's
nice.
2006, and a Glen Ord 12 from the 1990s.
Awesome, dude. That's actually good because I'm looking for a Glen Ord. I'm gonna try to find this. I mean, I have to look at my sheet to see what the oldest. 1 second, I actually have it up here. I thought I did. 1 second. You said Glen Ord, right?
Yeah.
I've got it here. Here we go. They have an 18. I'm going to try to see if I can find that somewhere. It might not be easy. I don't have a price yet, but I'll have to keep the lookout on it.
There's a couple others, actually. Not that they're super interesting. Well, one of them is I got the Old Tub Bourbon, which is like this Jim Beam release. It's like 50% non-chill filtered. It's under $20 bourbon. It's actually quite good. Oh man. So this one, and I think we need to do this for the Japanese show that we do. This shit, man. Picano 12-year-old single cask. This is a Japanese rice whiskey. Dude.
Wow.
Absolutely killer. And
rice whiskey, like sake?
No, it's actually it's all like matured in ex-bourbon. So it's actually considered a whiskey. Oh,
I think he did. I think you stole the DeLorean, man. Or you won the lottery.
No, neither. I just decided to like finally splurge on some stuff. Oh, I got a Lagavulin Fisial 2017.
Nice. Damn.
Yeah, this is it though. This is it. You're gonna see nothing new for me for like probably 6 months. I tend to at the like beginning of the year do my little splurge. So yeah, I've picked up some stuff, man. We'll have some fun.
That sounds great, man. None of them sounded bad to me.
Yeah, no, they'll all be good, and like I think we'll be able to do some fun shows with some of these. So
He digs the old tub even. That's awesome.
yeah, I thought it was pretty solid too, man. But yeah, man, you picked up a ton of like older stuff earlier in the year, and so glad to reciprocate with that. And yeah, if you want, we can get on into this. What do you want to call it? The Glenlivet, if you want to.
Sounds great to me. Yeah, we've got shows lined up for you guys for quite a while, and we'll be doing some really fun stuff back and forth all over the place. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. All right, so this one was mine, so I'll let you go first on it, but I'll give the tail of the tape here. So first one we're looking at. This is the Glenlivet. It is the Caribbean Reserve. This is bottled at 40% ABV. It is a rum barrel selection. They describe it as, quote, selectively finished in barrels that held Caribbean rum. That sounds like some legalese, so that's the most I could say.
I love it.
Yeah, 40% there is probably chill filtered. It's probably got fake color. I don't know. This is about a $35 bottle on the shelf, maybe even close to 40 in some places. This is what the bottle looks like.
Is this? Do you know if this is like part of their core usual release, or is it like maybe like a yearly one-off thing that they do?
I'm not sure. I feel like it's everywhere, but then again, it's a Glenlivet, so I'm not surprised it's everywhere. It doesn't say anything about it being limited. So this is, knowing them, this is probably something they're just going to have out there.
This is probably equivalent to like the Deanston's Virgin Oak, I would assume.
Yeah. It says sweet tropical notes. Yeah, there's just not much info. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff on the back. It says that they're going beyond the rugged Scottish Highlands to discover new influences and the Caribbean rum. And then it talks about, so it's probably a mix of ex-bourbon and then it's it might even be refill rum. So we'd be talking third fill. I don't know, but
yeah,
it's ex-bourbon for sure as any Glenlivet and then maybe refill rum. I don't know. But that's, not a ton of info. Here's that box again. And
it just says All I Could Find was April 2020 and finished an ex-Caribbean rum cask. It didn't really have a lot of other information other than that. But, man, jumping in, nice nose. Oh, man, I get like a cross between like a meringue and a pineapple with custard.
Yeah.
Like a really nice whipped cream meringue custard with maybe a little lemon citrus in there. Nice. Some florals going on.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, I think the nose is pretty solid. I mean, there's a little bit of a slight coconut thing, but I'm totally with you there on the pineapple, like big time pineapple. I mean, I think the rum, this is dominated by the rum notes. Like,
the roasted coconut's so good.
Maybe a bit of that kind of honey and a bit of that barley note in there, but like, I'll tell you, for the most part, it smells like a rum. I mean, there's a bit of, I don't know what you want to call it, like copper tone.
Yeah, it has a slight like minerality to it, but it's not off-putting.
Yeah.
On the nose. Huh.
Yeah, not bad. Very sweet.
Trying to see
apple, a lot of apple. I get a ton of apple in this too, which is very like Glenlivet-y for me, but I'm not sure if you're picking it up as much. It's definitely standing out for me. There's a little bit of the nutmeg and a little bit of the vanilla.
There is like a little bit. I wouldn't call it smoked, but it's got like a roasted kind of a note to the coconut that you get. And a little bit of spiciness there.
Like grilled pineapple.
Oh, that's good. It's funny, the palate definitely follows a lot what you get off the nose. It's got a bit of a finish too. For something so young, it definitely doesn't taste like an aged whiskey or anything, but
Yeah.
it doesn't taste like ultra crazy young either. It's like it probably has mostly like 7 and a touch of maybe like older stuff in it. I'm not sure how they do this, but
Yeah. I mean, development's interesting. It's kind of flat to me. It gives me like a lot of the sweetness. It's like vanilla frosting. There's some caramel. There's some of this, again, this like pineapple coconut thing, but it tastes, sort of pina colada like.
yeah, it's
You
very
get a
sweet.
little,
Very
you get a little surge of spice at the end, which is, again, I don't know, cinnamon. And then I find that the finish is it drops off quite quickly, but I do feel like it leaves a lingering, again, like cinnamon frosting, cinnamon, like very sweet, like brown sugar cinnamon frosting type thing, maybe a little bit of pineapple.
the spices are really like tame and subtle in this. That's
Yeah.
one thing that could have helped it if probably with a little age and a little more maybe maturity, maybe the spices would have kicked up a little notch
Yeah.
and brought up. Maybe
Yeah. It's very thin. I mean, I don't.
it doesn't have any like. It's funny. I got custard on the nose, but I definitely
Mhm.
don't get really any thick custard on the palate. It's much a thin. It's a nice sweet taste, but that's kind of all you get with
Yeah.
a slight minerality and
It's almost like French vanilla, like
yeah,
French vanilla ice cream or French vanilla, flavorant you add in coffee. It's like that creamier, it's almost eggier butter. Yeah.
yeah, and I agree with you. The finish is for me. It might not be as short, but it's very dry. It's extremely dry on the finish. But it's still, I mean, that nose, I think that my favorite part of this so far is the nose. We haven't got to the water yet, but
Yeah. Speaking of, I'm going to get ready for that.
hmm. Have you guys had this one already before? And if you have, what did you think of it?
I think DH Silv said he bought a whole case of this the minute it came out.
Oh, who was it?
DH Silv too. Yeah, he
Really?
was talking about this one night. He's like, "Oh man, it's the best whiskey I've ever had. I bought a whole case."
I think you're trying to get
Hey,
him.
Ray Dustin, what's up? I swear you were talking about that, man. Was that you?
He's gonna hunt you
It
down.
might have been Don Holland though. It could have been Don Holland. Maybe it was even Andrew Page. I'm not sure.
Wow, he's gonna get
Somebody
them
was
all
cooking.
riled up. that's that's pretty good though. But I love the nose on this.
Great
It's
nose.
funny the nose sticks out with it has more complexity and balance to me. But the palate's still pretty good though. But I do wish that finish wasn't as dry and it's got a nice coconut pineapple meringue whipped cream thing still with the palate too. But
Yeah, you're right on that whipped cream. I'm not getting as much the lemon meringue, but you're dead on with the whipped cream thing.
mm. What fruits are you getting out of this besides like the
Apple.
grapes are definitely there, huh?
Apple.
Apple.
Oh yeah, it's very like that's the thing, and water is bringing it out even more. Like you're finally getting to the Glenlivet distillate. I think when you get past the rum coat, like the water, I think brings out even more of the apple cinnamon, honey.
Huh. For
I
me,
get a
like
bit more of it. There's a little tartness. I mean, it's like not a green apple. It's like a red apple, but just not a really sweet one. Not a honey crisp.
maybe like a crab apple almost because it is tart, but I'm getting more of like but before the water I'm gonna put a drop one here in a second, but
Yeah.
before the water I'm getting more citrus notes for some reason on this than I am apple stuff, but hopefully the water will bring out more of
Like
an apple.
orange? Or you're
Yeah,
talking more like lemon?
I'm getting more of like a orange slash lemon combination for some reason, but hopefully with the water a drop because this is only 40, so we're not going to put anything but like a drop on it. I'm thinking that hopefully this will bring out the pears and the apples because I do prefer the pear apple side than the citrus if I can get it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or if it's got all four, that's even better. But we'll see what we get here.
Yeah.
I'm definitely getting more of an apples on the nose after the water. That's a good sign.
Oak too. Oak.
That makes sense because yeah, usually when I add water to whiskey, I always get like a bit of the oak on the nose and a little bit on the palate. I'll get more of a kick, like a spicy note.
Yeah.
So hopefully
The
that'll.
water changes this pretty considerably. Like
That's
I'm way past the sweet overcoat of the rum. It is much more like apple, dry oak.
Oh yeah, that definitely brought the apples into the mix for me.
Oh man, very sweet.
That's pretty interesting that you can still get that at a $35 to $40 whiskey. You know, the water change, and because a lot of the time, especially when you're dealing with a 40%, you don't get any of that. You know, typically.
Very drying on the finish with water. I mean, much even more so. Tannic, dark chocolate, maybe there's oakiness, and then there's that again, that note of this is the generic the rum thing. It's like you poured a Bacardi Silver in a glass. It's kind of like what that tastes like. I mean, it's not. I don't know. Maybe it's something a little more aged. There's a little bit more depth to it than a Bacardi Silver, but like it ain't a Foursquare. You know. Somebody said they just noticed the Ball Blair 90. Yeah, I'm surprised nobody spotted the other thing.
The 83.
the hazmat Elijah Craig barrel proof from like, I don't know, 10 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And the much coveted Elijah Craig 12.
There you go.
I have to get into that eventually. Those are fun ones. I do love me some Elijah Craig. Anyways,
she's asking if I like the Lacheg 10. Yeah, that's a good bottle. I think everybody typically likes. I know Quig likes the 10.
I love it.
Victoria, British Columbia is where he's technically at usually.
Yeah, Lacheg 10 was my number 3 whiskey of the year this year.
Oh wow! Okay,
I love it. I think it's not Ardbeg 10, but it's close. And like I think it's actually got some interesting complexities that a lot of the standard Islas don't have. I think I was a 4 out of 5 on that. I think Lacheg 10 is freaking fantastic.
Yeah, I think I would score it really similar. If I'm just thinking of it without even going through all the motions, I'm thinking at least a 4 because it's solid. One of the best 10-year-old peated whiskeys I think I've ever had, next to like a Springbank /
right.
Something that's in the caliber.
Yeah, and if folks are interested, if they're not subbed to my channel, feel free to, because I got a review coming up of a different Lacheg. This is the Lacheg Sinclair Series Rioja wine cask finish. It's an NAS, but
that's actually red.
Oh my God, look at the color of this.
That is crazy, man. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It looks like it's. I mean, I hate to say it, but it almost looks like it's like food coloring or something.
Yeah, like a glass of rosé.
It's crazy, isn't it? But without spoiling it, was it pretty decent, or was it like?
Yeah. I mean, it's I'm not. It's not bad. It's relatively cheap, so.
Hey, good to see you, Dram. It's been a little bit. Hopefully you're doing well there in California.
Oh, man. Glad you could join us over here too, Dram. Good to see you.
Oh, man. I love the nose on this. I can nose this both neat and with water for quite a while and actually not be bored with it, because I love the combination of, I mean, it's not crazy complex, but the flavors you get are actually, to me, really appealing. Because I love a sweet nose like that.
Yeah.
Always good with smoke and peat. This has got like a roasted note, not really smoke, but a little, maybe, just a smidgen touch of it.
Have you ever had the Glenfiddich Fire and Cane, which was the peated rum one that they did in their experimental series?
Yeah, this reminds me a lot of that one, actually. It's really close. I can't really pick a winner. I might actually lean towards this one, but it's been a while since I had that one, so I'm not going to dog it too much. But
yeah,
this one's actually.
Banana do you pick up? Do you pick up a lot of banana on this?
I'm getting like a slight dried banana chip kind of a flavor, but not in my face, but slightly.
Yeah.
That's really really good actually, man. That's I'm gonna have another pour of it.
Yeah, do it. And this was my pour, so when you're ready to do your final thoughts and score on this, you go right ahead, and I'll follow you up, and then we'll switch because the Glenfiddich is from you.
That's gonna be fun too. I'm trying to think of how I feel about this compared to the Caribbean 14 from Balvenie. I think that one definitely has more complexity in flavor. So that one, but it also costs almost twice as much. So you got to keep that into account too. I think for the money that you're paying for this, you said 35 to 40, right?
Yeah, it's right around that 35-40 mark.
I think it's damn good. I mean, and that's the same kind of price you're going to pay for like a Highland Park Magnus, for a Johnny, Walker Black or Double Black, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's definitely on par with all that stuff, Monkey Shoulder, but even better, slightly. I'd say it's worth definitely up to maybe 40 to 45. I would pay. Um, Great nose, with and without water, palate solid both ways, but yet definitely doesn't have a lot of the maturity or the complexity that you kind of want to have. But we are getting what we pay for here.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm coming back neat. The only thing I think that we both agreed on in this, and multiple hopefully back me up on this later on, is the finish is probably the most concerning thing about it. It's not like, thankfully, it's not bitter and off-putting to the point where I'm kind of like, oh, it needs more for better balance.
Yeah.
I do wish it was a little longer and a little less dry. With all that said, I'm thinking this one's going to land around. It's definitely above an average for me. I'm not even taking the value into account. And if I put the value in there, it'd be even better than the score that I'm giving it. But I'm thinking like a 3.5, I think is man, maybe stretching it, maybe 3.25. It's definitely better than average, but I'm trying to decide on how much better than average do I feel it is. Man, 3.25, and I'm almost willing to go to 3.5, but we'll keep it at 3.25, I think, for this one, because I do prefer the 12, and it is a step up, and that to me is more of a 3.5 to 3.75 dram. So I'm gonna go, I think, with 3.25 on this one. I love it, man, for what it is,
Right on. So we got a 3.25 from Telex the Whiskey Tech on Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve.
Just to PS, I know it might be colored and it might be chill filtered, but
I know a lot of colored and chill filtered whiskeys that are freaking great. So
yeah, I'm just going by like overall experience from the nose, palate, finish, before and after water, and keeping it like that,
Totally. All right. Well, I'm going to get into my final thoughts and score too, and kind of continuing with where we were 2 weeks ago. I'm actually on the other side of this than you are. I think this is an incredibly overly sweet malt that to me lacks. It's not bringing forward anything other than a very like overly sweet rum flavor, which borders on like generic artificial rum flavoring for me. I don't know. It's incredibly sweet. It has little of a finish. Water, I felt like, really dismantles this whiskey. I feel like the oaky tone that comes through with water, which I first thought was interesting, I think actually takes away from it even more. What I would love to compare this with is that Dewar's Caribbean that they put out, because I wonder where this would stack up with that. But I'll be honest, what I think the Balvenie 14 has in kind of complexity and development, I think this thing is really lacking. I like the nose, but everything else is kind of downhill. I mean, I'm a 1.75 on this one, which is I don't recommend. I just it $35-$40, no age, like it just I can't get anything else out of this. And so for me, yeah, I do think that your palate is this is very subjective when it comes to the rum thing, and I think this is something we can talk some more about as we go along. Um, I like rum. You like rum. You have a, as you've stated, the sweetness is something that you gravitate towards a bit. I also enjoy sweetness, but there's something about this that just I.
You usually like the Glenlivet make, like you like the 12 as a whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Glenlivet is fine. I really loved the old Glenlivet 18 before they dropped the ABV, but yeah, this one just doesn't do it for me. I kind of feel like if I was going to get a rum, like this would not be a rum whiskey that I would buy. I mean, for $30 more, I think the investment in a Balvenie 14 would obviously be better. But like taking this on its merits, you really have to want rum.
Yeah,
like sweet rum in all the sweet rum ways to like this, and I feel like the overcoat of it is just too much to really make this seem like a, in my opinion, competent malt for me. So yeah, I'm gonna roll at 175 on this.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If you, even though I know it's two totally different like priced whiskeys, if you were looking at the drum CR or LR, take your pick, how would it stack up as far as a rum whiskey for you?
Yeah.
That one, I'm just curious.
I mean, I think I have not had the limited release. I had the CR of the drum. That's about a 3 for me. Like I think the drum, again, the thing about it was just it was youthful, but I just felt like the rum was complementary to the spirit, not trying, like they didn't do a perfect job, but it was complementary, not overpowering. For me, it is like it's the only thing happening here. Like even with water, you can get a little bit of that apple, like that, classic Glenlivet stuff. But like if I poured this for you blind, I mean, or somebody blind, I bet you they'd wager to say that it's just a glass of rum and in a very sugary rum at that. And so like I don't mind the flavor. I just feel like I don't know
the whiskey property, it sounds like.
Yeah, I don't know where this, I don't know where this would fit in for me. And so yeah, I mean, I just think, if this was $20-$25, which is what I kind of feel like it should be, yeah, grab it. But there's no, like, I don't pick up any real depth to this. There's nothing nuanced or interesting. It, for me, is just sweet on top of a lot of, and it masks anything that you could even get out of a NAS Glenlivet. And so, yeah, I'm going to digress from you a little bit, but, that's why we do it. So.
No. I wasn't being argumentative. I was just trying.
No. I don't think you are at all. I mean, I think it's going to be fun when we. I mean, we barely disagree on a lot of things. I think the other thing was you were higher on one other thing. Oh, you were higher, or I was higher on the Macallan 12 than you were, and then you were higher on the 18.
Yeah.
So 175 from Malt Muser and 325 from Telex, the Whiskey Tech. That is our rundown on the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve. Let us know in the chat. What do you guys think? Have you had this before? Do you have any other rum whiskeys that you like? What do you think about rum finishes in general? Let's get a chat going. I think Telex and I have some stuff to talk about a bit with this too. And more broadly, we can talk about just finishing whiskeys in general if you want.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think for me, it's funny because I've drank rum, but I never drink a lot of it. So when I do get these rum cast finishes, it's like, it's tough. I mean, I know what you're saying. It's that the notes on this whiskey are very rum forward, but it's like it's such a, because I do like such sweet stuff. It's such a sweet, good taste to me. That's makes it really hard to rate it in a lot lower than that. You know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, no, I feel you, man. Yeah,
it's a tough one. It's like, it's painful to go through, because when you've got a good cask or a way to mask the whiskey a bit, that's what makes it really tough to grade something like that, because it's like, how much of it is the cask versus how much of it's the whiskey, how much is it's the crafting of it and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think that
I do wish it was a higher than 40. It tastes a little hotter than a 40, maybe like a 43, but I think if it was at like 43 or 46, you might get more bang for your buck that way too.
yeah, yeah. I'm gonna pour that 21 into a glass right now, and then yeah, I mean, like I think it would be. I'm really interested, kind of, Telex, in your take generally. I mean, we're sitting here, we're talking about these rum finished whiskeys, and I'm really curious as to your opinion about finishes in general, and like more specifically, and this is a good one for the chat too. So this comes off of a chat I was having a couple weeks ago on an impromptu live stream where I was tasting the Deanston Organic PX Finish 17-year-old. And Welsh Toro and I were chatting a little bit just about like finishes, right? And a lot like ABV, finishes I think can be used in a way, and this was kind of Toro's point, to like mask over not great distillate, right? You jack up the ABV or you put a finish on it. It's a good way to sell stuff you have that didn't work out. And I'm sure that happens. Right. Also, though, I think there are whiskeys that a finish brings something new to that otherwise you wouldn't have got. And I guess I'm curious, kind of like, what's your general take on like finished scotches? Do you think like, do you have strong opinions one way or the other? You kind of take it as it comes. And, you know, specifically, I mean, I think this is germane to what we're talking about now because of the, you know, here we are drinking some rum finished whiskeys.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it depends on what's the base that you're going with versus maturation. Is it better versus the finishing? I mean, I think maturation is always better because if you think of the pureness, the strength of if the cask is good, but if you've got a great base in a great bourbon cask you're going through for 12 years, and then you finish it for 3 years just to give it some nice flavor to enhance what you already have, that could be just as beautiful as uh, all matured in sherry Oloroso for 20 years. It's like it really, I think it depends on what the base is and what the where it goes from there. But man, I can't really I think pick one versus the other. But I think most people would probably think maturation. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, and you know, again, prompted by something Welsh Toro brought up when I brought up a similar thing that you made. Like he was like, well, like why not just mature it? And like, why do you have to do the finish, right? Like, what's the point of the finish if you're, And I tend to agree with what you're saying. I mean, I think like a maturation is probably better, but I do wonder in certain cases if the finish actually brings out more of the contrast and add something to it. And so like where I want to go with this, and again, let us know in the chat, like what is your opinion on finishes? Are there specific whiskeys that like you think have finishes that are fantastic? I'd love to know, like Telex, and this is the prompt. What single malts have you had where you think a finish either added something different and not necessarily made it better, but kept it at the same quality, but made it different, or like exceeded expectations? Not necessarily like made it, palatable, but like, is there a whiskey that you've had that had a finish that you would say to yourself, like, you know what? I'm not saying it's better than the regular version or something, but what it does do, it does really well. I'd be really curious what you think about that.
I think one of the best, and I'll be honest with you, the first distillery that popped in my head when you start talking about finishing whiskey in beautiful casks is Lacheg. Actually, the 18 is a really good example, I think, of 10 years in base, and then finishing it in Oloroso sherry casks and having a beautiful product at the end. That's the first thing that came into mind. But I think also some of the finished whiskeys. Let me try to think of another one that's just more of a finish. I can't remember if off the top of my head. Let me see. Let me do a quick look up and see if this one is another really good example. I think it is, but let me verify it before I go all in. No, it's well aged in last 10 years. Well, like the Ardbeg is a good one, I think, because
Yeah.
it's matured in bourbon casks, um, but it's also sent to the Mazzania sherry casks for. But I think it's a finish where they have it in 10 years for the Ardbeg, and then they have it, a couple years in the Mazzania sherry casks.
Yep.
I think that's kind of another good example of a finish. But if you want to talk about great maturation balls, I know we're not in agreement on this one as much, but to me that Kilhoman red wine matured bottle
Mm.
is really, really damn good. I know you weren't as big of a fan of that as I was, but man, that's one of my top like 4.25 to 4.5 bottles I could
Yeah,
think.
you love that one. Yeah, I recall. Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, there's one that comes to mind right away when it comes to finishes that I think really actually adds something to it, but it depends on the year of the release, and that's the Lagavulin Distillers Edition.
Yeah.
The Lagavulin Distillers Edition is a PX. It's basically the Lagavulin 16 with a PX finish. Now, I've had fortunately, a couple different year releases of that. And some I found that the PX was overpowering and it took away some of the complexity of the Lagavulin 16, which I think exists. Others, particularly, I think it was the 2019 or 2018, I felt like hit the sweet spot where like you get that nice, that Lagavulin is very maritime, very like seaweed, that kind of earthy vegetal notes in the Lagavulin 16. And then you just get this pop of like sweet PX. I felt like it didn't make Lagavulin 16 worse. It was just a different way to do it, and it held its own. Glendalough 13 Mizunara is another example. But like, my general feeling is similar to yours. I think like Welsh Toro's point is right that a lot of times this is an easy way for distilleries to like push off some of the spirit that didn't turn out well and throw it in a finish. It masks the flavor. Personally, I think there's plenty of examples of that, but there are a good amount I think that do it well. The Deanston stuff. Deanston is like huge on the finishes. I'm still TBD on that 17-year-old organic PX, but yeah, I mean, I generally like feel like, look, I don't want to be too stickler about stuff. I appreciate distilleries trying to do something a little different, and it's about your judgment. If you have enough knowledge about whiskey, you're going to know, right? Like you're going to know, like you're going to buy a finished whiskey. You should be able to read between the lines a little bit. If it's at 40%, it's still filtered. It's not, like they're just probably pawning some shit off. But like if you get something again like this Deanston I was talking about, it's like 48% organic, PX finish, 17 years old. Like hey, check it out. Kilhoman is another great example. As I just like Kilhoman has a ton of finished whiskeys, and I feel like they do a pretty good job with some of those. And so, yeah, another one like Bunnahabhain.
Yeah.
That wasn't the one I meant to say, but yeah, Bunnahabhain, it's true. Jesus, I'm blanking here. You said it earlier. What did you say earlier? Ardbeg. Right? You said Ardbeg.
The Ardbeg was like they took the Ardbeg 10 and basically finished it in the Mazzania casks for the Ardbeg series too.
Bunnahabhain, I think, actually, in contrast, is much more on the maturation side. Lefroy, what about now, like the Lefroy, the Carchis line, most of those have been finishes, right? If I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, they're all pretty much the finishes. I wanted to remember, look at the one Bunnahabhain, the 13 Marsala. Is that, I can't remember if that was a finish or if that's a...
The Bunna 13 Marsala, yeah, I'm not sure.
That's a finish. That's 10 years in ex-bourbon barrels and then 3 years in the ex-Marsala wine barrels.
Yeah.
That's a pretty well done, I think,
So
bottle.
yeah, I mean this is the Bunnahabhain limited release. This is from like 2017. This is the Pedro. It's PX. It's the PX finish. So basically, it's first fill sherry and then PX finish. I don't know how long. It doesn't actually say. So this is a finished Buna. The other one that I have up here is the Moynia Bordeaux. Now this is 14 years old, but the Moynia Bordeaux is only 9 years old, and this is actually matured. So interesting, right?
They like go back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it depends on like if you have a really good 10-year ex-bourbon base, that's always awesome to see in a 2 or 3 year finish. But if you do take whiskey and you mature it in for 20 years in Oloroso, I'm all for that too. It just depends,
like that Deanston. Yeah.
It also depends on your mood, because sometimes you do want that, sherry bomb in your face. Give me all the fruit and the dryness that you can. But then sometimes you're kind of like, I just want a really solid, and I think the perfect example you brought up was that Lagavulin Distillers Edition. That's the perfect finished whiskey in PX that I think I can think of.
Me too.
Overall, I know some people aren't into it. I call them peat purists. Some people like their peat more in their face, straightforward, without any other flavors. But I like it all. I like a straight in your face Octomore that's 300 ppm that has no other finishes, but I also like a really good 10-year bourbon whiskey finished in just 2 years in a nice wine cask too, if it's done right. But I think the funny thing is, I think it's a lot harder to finish a good whiskey than it is to mature it, because you just got to pick that right base and right finish. You don't have to just pick the good stuff from the beginning. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you.
So that's the kind of the kicker is, which is more also more of a craft thing.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And speaking of, I'm actually just going to go grab a little bit more water here, and then we can start talking going to the other end of the spectrum, a 21-year-old Glenfiddich.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Let me shift it out here 1 second. Yeah, I have to get Malt when he gets back. Ask him, but I think I'll verify this with him. But I don't think he's the biggest fan of the Glenfiddich spirit base. But I'm going to verify that when he comes back, because I can't remember. What about you guys? Anybody a Glenfiddich versus Glenlivet fan? I like both spirits, actually. I probably, if you put a gun to my head, so you got to pick one, I probably would go with the Glenlivet, only because of the fruit I get from the Glenlivet series is typically a little more in my face that I like. Glenfiddich has got more of an interesting floral type. It has more of a floral type herbal thing going on with it, more than the fruit side. So that's the thing. Is I guess it all depends on what you prefer that way. But I'm very eager to get into this one, because I do like the base 12. I like the 15 Solera a lot. The other ones I've had, I'm trying to remember. The Fire King was pretty good. Other ones, I'd like to try the Winter Storm. I haven't had that one yet, but I think I've had an 18, and I'm trying to remember some of the other ones. They don't pop into my head right away, but they're pretty decent overall. Just like with the Glenlivet series, the 15 French Oak is pretty good. The 18, I would prefer the old one, but it's still pretty decent. And 21 solid. Even the I was about to say Signet, but that's Glenmorangie. What is their? I need to get my hands on their 25 at some point, but that's way down the road. But what about you guys as far as Glenlivet versus Glenfiddich? Do you have a preference on the Distillers Edition? 51%. Wow. That would be a nice pour, Peter. If I had that, that's what I would be pouring right now. Matter of fact, that is crazy. Experiment. Oh yeah, the Project XX. I've had that. That is actually pretty good, but I've heard batches on that one are iffy. Some batches are good, some batches not so good. I've heard mixed reactions to it. I was lucky enough to have a pretty good one. No, it was. I was talking about the Glenlivet one, but it's still also way too expensive. Let me get you back in here. Well, there you are.
What's up?
No, I was just asking them if they preferred the. I think you prefer the Glenlivet spirit over the Glenfiddich. You're not a big fan of the base spirit on the Glenfiddich, right?
Um,
Or is it up
I
and
mean,
down?
if you were going to say, do you want a Glenlivet 12 or a Glenfiddich 12, I'd take the Glenlivet. If you were going to ask me if I wanted the Glenlivet 18, the old version, versus the Glenfiddich 18, I would take the Glenlivet. But I don't. I like some of the stuff that Glenfiddich has done. I liked the experimental series. I thought the Project XX was really good. I thought I didn't have the Winter Storm. I also had the IPA cask. I thought they did it really well. I thought that's an example of how to finish a whiskey.
I haven't tried that one
It wasn't
yet.
overpowering. It was complimentary. I thought they did a really, really good job. I also really enjoyed the the Fire and Cane. I thought wasn't bad.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. We all don't have $300 or $400 to spend on whiskey, so you got
Yeah,
to find some of these things to find, and that's what's great. I think about like the Fire and Cane and this Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve. Even I know you weren't as big of a fan of it. Did you prefer? How much better did you like the Fire and Cane? It sounds like you liked it a bit
a
more
lot. I liked it a lot better. I really did.
than
I
this
thought it
Caribbean
was.
Reserve
Yeah,
one.
I just thought it was a better. Like it was just a better dram. I liked the peat that they had in it. I liked the like. Again, I felt like they balanced it much. I just feel like this. The Glenlivet was just way out of balance. But
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Right? It is what it is.
I'm glad you liked the Fire and Cane a bit, though.
I did. I mean, it's not like my favorite dram, but I
Right.
probably wouldn't buy it again. I think it's like a 3. Like I think they did a really good job with the entire experimental series. Now I haven't had the Winter Storm, but that was way too expensive.
Yeah, that
Um,
was on my list of maybe to pick up. That's another 21-year-old like this one.
yeah,
I went ahead and got this one because I thought, well, this one is a little easier to find and a little bit but more of their core typical range. So I thought this would probably be the best one to pick up just as a collecting different higher aged ones. So but Winter Storm might be on my to do list later on at some point.
yeah, it's like a 23-year-old or something, right?
Oh, is it 23? I thought it was 21. It might be actually up
Something like
there at
that.
23. Let me see something real fast. You're probably right. They have a Grand Cru or something like that. That's a
Yeah, I saw
23.
that. Yeah.
That's another one that's up there in the age. 1 second. It's Winter Storm.
Yeah, yeah. I that's the only one I haven't had, but I'll tell you, like, I think
21.
I don't think any of the experimental series that I had outside, besides the Winter Storm, which I didn't have, were bad whiskeys. Like I thought they were all quite good. I thought that the Project XX was the clear winner. And now they have a second batch of that out now. Project
Oh,
XX Sherry. There's a Sherry version now.
wow. Ooh.
Or Project 20, not XX. My apologies. I thought the Project 20 was really good. I think it had a little bit of a short finish, but it's an NAS, whatever. I thought it was super quality for what it was. I thought that the Fire and Cane was solid, probably the weakest of the range of the series, but still pretty good. And I thought that the IPA was well balanced. I think Glenfiddich did a great job. So yeah, the core distillate stuff, like I would rather drink Glenlivet 12 than Glenfiddich 12 probably. I think the Glenlivet 18 is more complex and interesting than the Glenfiddich 18, but they each have their strong points. And again, it's a horse apiece, really.
Hey, saying don't do it. Yeah, it's 43%. That's what kicks me on some of these higher aged Glenfiddichs is why are they so, hell bent on keeping it 43 and under? That's just weird to me. At least give me 46 to 48 when I'm spending that kind of money on a whiskey, no matter what the age is, in my opinion.
Real talk.
That's crazy. 43%. Can you believe that? But
No, I mean, a lot of them do it. The Glengoyne,
40 as well.
The Glengoyne is 43. The Glengoyne 21 is 43. I mean, I just wish they would bump that up to 46. I mean, it's still a good whiskey, but Speaking of, you want to jump in? I am licking my chops here, my friend.
Yes. Yeah,
21 years old. You're telling me this is a 21-year-old Glenfiddich? This is the oldest Glenfiddich I've ever had. Yeah. What's the tail of the tape on this bad boy?
Yeah, basically this is 21, and this isn't their core. It's a bit easier to find in the Winter Storm and a little cheaper. It's only 40% ABV, which is the real kicker to me. But it does use X bourbon, X sherry, and X rum. It's got all three cask types involved with this. The way it's done is 21 years in used American barrels. It then spends its final 4 months in hand-selected rum barrels from the Caribbean. So it's only a 4-month finish in this. So hopefully
that's probably going to do it justice.
Yeah, this hopefully won't be as much in your face to you as the first one that you went through, but you never know. To me, it's another, to me, rum is tough because, like you say, it's so in your face sometimes that it's really hard to get a really good balance of other things with the rum. So yeah, I guess that's the way you have to kind of judge some of these rum matured.
What is this probably not? It's probably chill filtered color.
It definitely has coloring, which a lot of Glenfiddichs do, and this is off of a foreign site that tells me whether things are colored. It doesn't talk about chill filtering, but since they do not have any information at all anywhere on the bottle or the box, I definitely would be suspicious. We could test it also together if we add water. Sometimes you see that Scotch mist,
Yeah.
If you don't see it, that it is a chill, filtration issue. But if you do,
what does the bottle look like? Just out of curiosity. Yeah.
Yes. Let me put up here for you guys.
All right.
It's a
21-year-old Glenfiddich. Okay.
They usually have this really odd shape to all their bottles, but
yeah, the triangle thing or whatever. Yeah.
But it's it's a nice presentation. I like the fact that the stag they use is a little more subdued than the crazy bottle that you see sometimes in other
from Dalmore.
Yeah, and this is they give you a nice big big fat box with the nice little opening deal.
Okay. And what is the what's the cost on this one? Like, what's the average price, or like what did you pay for it?
Let me and I'm glad you brought that up because I had it up here and I lost it. Give me 1 second. Inventory. It wasn't too crazy, I remember. But once you start collecting some of these 21s, it gets a little crazy no matter how you look at it. But let me see if I can find the initial deal here. I thought it had it.
Yeah.
There we go. It was once. I had it up here. It was 180.
Okay, so it's like right around there. And that's a good price for a 21-year-old whiskey.
That's another reason why I thought, because I think once you get to the Winter Storm, man, you're paying like upwards of like $300 or some crazy deal for that.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking for 3% ABV in the same age, I know it has an interesting taste, but man, it better be damn good for that.
Yeah, that's totally true. Yeah, I'm excited for this. I mean, since this was one of your pours, I guess I'll start.
Yeah, go ahead and take off. I was just looking for anything I missed as far as sometimes if you look at the very fine print, you can find something that talks about the
or like that Ben Romick I had where you have to look in the booklet that's smashed at the bottom of the thing to tell you that it's non-chill filtered.
I'm looking inside. They have all this text actually inside.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Reading all the fine print inside of it, trying to see. But
so here we go, man. 21-year-old Glenfiddich. It's interesting. Oh, before we start on this, do you know, is this the only 21 they put out? Or do they have a regular ex-bourbon 21? Or is this some special thing? Or is it their 21 is just a 21 that has a rum finish?
Yeah, that's their flat 21. The only other 21 they have that I found was that Winter Storm option, but it is a lot more expensive. Let me do one
Yeah.
quick last scan through on the 21. But the rum and cast finish that we're having, and they have a 25-year rare oak option, but the 21 Winter Storm is the only other one besides the 23-year Grand Cru, but that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
That should be about it. Yeah.
Andrew Pace says Subdued Stag would be a good name for the brand.
Oh, for a band, yeah.
For a band, yeah.
I might use that actually. Subdued Stag.
Good.
Subdued Stag. It's a tongue twister.
A bunch of beta males, yeah. All right, here we go. Thank you for the tale of the tape. I can tell you right away, the nose on this is night and day different than that Glenlivet. This is much darker. It is not overly sweet. I detect, again, similar apple cinnamon spice, apple cinnamon caramel, like big time coming off the nose on this, which is very Glenfiddich-y. But boy, right behind it, it's a darkish molasses. There's just a bit more. I mean, that overt sweetness that we got off the Glenlivet is totally not present here. I mean, it's a sweet dram, but it's not nearly as overpowering. It's very balanced. A little bit of coconut, a little bit of pineapple, a little bit of, like, I don't know, just tropical fruit, generic tropical fruit.
Yeah, I'm not getting whipped cream or meringue like I was getting.
No, not at all. I'm not even picking up any citrus. There's a nice, almost like warm gingerbread, like
Oh, ginger, yeah.
fresh baked gingerbread. Not like the pickled ginger, but like a gingerbread type thing going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting a lot more spice on the nose than the other one. That's for sure.
Yeah. It's like ginger snap cookies, gingerbread, a little bit of that crystallized Jamaica sugar on top. Interesting. I mean, not like blowing my mind nose wise, but I really appreciate the balance here in contrast to what we were just having. But it smells. Yeah, there's like a deep kind of damp oakiness going on too in the background.
Yeah. It's not quite leather, but it's getting
Leather, yeah.
Yeah, it's like almost like a leathery note.
Well, yeah, well put. Anything else you're getting on the nose before we dive in here?
I know you were saying that you were getting citrus. I might be getting a little citrus, but it's not at near as.
No, I wasn't getting citrus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting a little bit, but I'm not getting as much as I was in that first one. I was getting a lot more, but this one, it's there, but I am getting more of like an apple pear balance with that citrus.
Melon. Boy, this is a really nice nose.
Yeah, let's have a taste.
Let's do it, Cilantro. Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
They definitely get more of the bourbon cast notes there.
Oh. Medium to light on the viscosity, but holy crap, does that belie the intensity of the flavor. When it first hit the palate, it's sweet and it's kind of light, but then it sticks to every single part of your mouth. A ton of bourbon notes. There's a nice sweet accent of coconut, pineapple, maybe not even pineapple. It's coconut. There's coconut. It's German chocolate cake.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, you nailed on that one.
It's like, fun fact about German chocolate cake. You know why it's called that?
I forgot. I think I looked it up a long time ago.
Not because it was made in Germany, because there ain't no damn coconuts in Germany. It's because the guy that created the cake's last name was German.
Oh, that's awesome.
The more you know, right? Anyways.
It was my favorite cake when I was little, like 5. I got in trouble because my dad's birthday, and he got a German chocolate cake. And it's my mom, she made it, and she put it up like really high because I was a climber. So when I was 5,
Wait, you put it up high because you were a climber?
Yeah, I'll never forget this, man. I climbed up there, and I went ballistic, and I ate that whole cake by myself. I got in so much trouble. They beat my ass.
Man.
I never will forget that.
Oh man, that's good, dude.
Sorry, you just brought back a good memory with the German chocolate cake.
No, man, we're having a moment. That's good. That's good, man. All right, anyways, yeah, like
it's just like that icing. You nailed it with that, I think.
This tastes like German chocolate cake if I've ever tasted anything like it. Like this is German chocolate cake in a glass. Interesting though, long finish. There's like a nice coconut note. There's a nice caramel bourbon toffee, like bourbon balls. There's like there's a bit of vanilla. There's a bit of caramel. I really like the way the rum is an accent here. It is mostly in the background. It is not overpowering this whiskey. Thank you, Glenfiddich. This is showcasing a 21-year-old bourbon cask, in my opinion. Excellent bourbon. It almost first fill in how intense it is. It is very intense. Medium long on the finish, closer to the long side. Again, there's a coconut, there's a caramel, there's a saltwater taffy note, which is strange to me, but it's there.
Oh, you nailed it. I like the salted caramel kind of feel to
it. Yeah, definitely. And it holds on for a while. I mean, hazelnut, tons of hazelnut.
It does have a ton of hazelnut. You're really, really good at nailing the notes on this one. I'm like standing back in awe already.
Well, sometimes it just hits right, man. There's also like peaches, like canned peaches.
It has that acidity that the peaches have too.
Yeah, and that kind of like mealy, like that very mild sweetness that peaches have that you eat out of the can. Like they're just it's a very like kind of base sweetness. There's also some dried nuts. I mean, like generic dried nuts. I can't quite put a finger on it. Dried fruit.
Dried nuts, yeah, almost like a cashew.
Like a trail mix almost with no chocolate in it. Raisins, cashew, peanut. Like, I could mess with this.
Trail mix, I mean, it's funny, you're like going all over the place, but every time you go somewhere, I'm like, hell, he's nailing every note I'm getting out of this.
Yeah, this one's, I don't know. It's hitting, man. I'm
enjoying it more with all the notes you're giving it too.
That's what happens sometimes. You said this is 40%, right?
It's only 40, which really blows my mind because it does taste a little higher.
Malted in Montreal and I did a stream once a long time ago, and he said it best. He's like, you know what? I expect a 40% whiskey to be good. And I think he was right about that. And I think this is a testament to what a 41-year-old whiskey or 40% whiskey can do at obviously 21 years old. But like, this isn't a slouch. I just did like 2 drops of water here.
I'm going to do the same thing. Just give me a...
Man, I spilled on myself a little bit.
Second. Yeah, you gotta be careful with the water. Just a couple drops, but that should get it going. Did you see? Did you by chance look for the mist thing? I didn't look for it. I could probably.
No, I'm not seeing. I mean, there's no way that this is natural color or chill. I mean, this is chill filtered for sure. I mean, you can tell. I mean, that orange glow happening here is. I don't understand why they would do this on a 21-year-old whiskey. The people that are buying this. Like, give me a freaking break. Like, if you're going to spend $200 on a whiskey, why you got to chill filter it and put fake color in it? Like, the people spending that much money on a whiskey, unless it's a gift and they don't know anything anyway, so they won't know the difference. Like, you don't need to put fake colorant and fucking chill filter this stuff or put it at 40% for that matter.
True.
There's no reason for it. Like, people who are going to drink this aren't drinking it because they're gifting it to their kid for graduation. I mean, that's what Johnny Walker Blue is for.
There
Give
you
me
go.
a break with this bullshit. I mean, get with the program, Glenfiddich. For real. Like, there's no reason for this.
Mm.
That said, this is not a bad whiskey.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely had a great base 21-year bourbon whiskey that they finished just for 4 months in a rum cask, and this is, I think you know, I didn't really see the difference until now between that first one and this one as much of having it right, together, but you really do get a much better appreciation for this whiskey once
Oh,
you've had
man.
the first one. It's like,
Seriously. The apple notes, so similar to what I experienced with the Glenlivet, the drops of water on this are really bringing out the core Glenfiddich distillate. Honey, apple, when we're talking about kind of sweet apples, there's a little bit of that tartness. You're still getting a little bit of that barrel char note, but it's very subtle. Again, the rum note is it's an accent, man. It's the period at the end of the sentence. It's not the whole sentence. I appreciate that. I think this punches above its weight. I was expecting this not to be quite as good.
I'm getting candied apples, definitely.
Yeah, candy. Yes, you nailed it. Candied apples. That's the right one.
Even with that little bit of peanut dust on top too.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
That's crazy.
All right. Mm-hmm.
Sugar daddy. It's got
What a ride.
taste, man.
Oh man, what a ride.
This must be what that Four Roses my mom really wants me to get her one day if I ever find it. That Four Roses, I think it's like a 20.
Al Young. Yeah.
Some crazy sugar daddy version of that. I bet this is what that tastes
Oh.
like.
Yo, man. I'll be honest with you. It's almost hard. Like the rum influence on this is so subtle that
It's
you
definitely
really
there,
have to focus to distinguish it from the bourbon notes.
Yeah.
But it's there. The extra molasses hit, the extra concentrated sugar hit, the sugar cane. It's there. It's right on the edge of those bourbon notes that you pick up in what is, again, a long finish.
Do you think 4 months was the right time, or do you think it was too long or not enough time?
I mean, for my personal taste, I feel like longer would have hurt it. I just, rum is very pungent and flavorful. I mean, at least the things, I mean, I'm ignorant about it in that sense, but at least the things that they seem to age this stuff in, like the Balvenie 14 does it well. They do it well here too. And what it's not bringing up the extra sweetness there. This is a sweet dram by itself. What it's bringing is a little bit more earthiness. Now, there's not as much depth as I would want at a 21-year-old whiskey, but I'm telling you, the ride is a roller coaster of fun flavors here, man. I'm even getting you ever had Smarties candies?
Oh yeah,
I'm getting some of that too.
Yeah, the tartness is coming through.
Slightly chalky sweetness.
You're right. Yeah, that's weird. I was looking up the Balvenie to see how they do the maturation / finishing of it with the 14. Is it all?
I mean, one of these days we're just gonna I got a whole bunch of Foursquare exclusive casts. One of these days we're just gonna do these and really get into some rum. But I'll tell you, this is, I'm feeling all right about this.
Do you know if it looks like? I was looking at the Balvenie to see how they do their Caribbean cask as a comparison. And it looks like it's in used American barrels as well for 14 years. It then finished in rum cask, but they don't tell you specifically.
Yeah, they don't tell. Yeah, they don't tell you. Show me a whiskey that does tell you anything about
They do say that they were seasoned by the Balvenie themselves when it comes to the seasoning of the casks, but
I mean, I think Balvenie 14 is probably the standard bearer upon which any Scotch whiskey single malt can be judged for rum. And again, I think rum is a tough thing to do here. I think it's one of the most. I think rum is probably the most complicated whiskey or most complicated spirit to get right. But they do, these finishes with Scotch. I mean, these are hit and miss, man. And I think this is an interesting one. I don't know where to go with this. I'm ready to do final thoughts, though. I think I'm ready.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
I'm going to be flying off the cuff a little bit, but I think I'm ready to do it. Here's the deal. The negatives first. The obvious colorant, the obvious chill filtration, the obvious insanity of putting this at 40%. Fuck you, Glenfiddich.
Wow.
Now the positives. Really fun whiskey. It's a roller coaster. There's a lot happening here. They got the balance right when it comes to the rum. I feel like it's not overdone. This is a light and day difference than my score on the Glenlivet. I would be real interested to drink a 21-year-old Glenfiddich that didn't have the rum finish to compare it, but I'll tell you, they did a good job with this one. The rum, it's an accent. It's the dot on the exclamation point. It's not the exclamation point. That I appreciate a lot. Really fun. And at that price point for a 21-year-old whiskey, I mean, these days you can't go wrong. $180 to $200, that's fine. I'm doing a feedback sandwich: negative, positive, negative. So then I'll go back to one other thing. Damn, I wish that they would put out a 21-year-old that wasn't just a rum finish. That said, all in all, this is competent. It's good. I think the price point is right. This is a 3.5 item for me, which is I recommend trying this or grabbing one if you find it sub 200 and you want a rum finish whiskey. I'll go 3.5.
Yeah, I think I'm right along with you. I am still kind of the 40% thing is the hardest next to the the coloring. Thankfully, since it is more of a gold color, I'm surprised that they bother, because if they are putting it in here, they're just doing it for consistency purposes. And like Malt said, I mean, if we're not collecting this, we're not going to care. Just
yeah,
it's natural. I mean, if this was, some crazy $500 Macallan bottle, then I would be a little more, even more scrutinizing. But, when this comes to a nice priced 21-year, give it to us at 46%,
43.
43, 46, minimum. And give us, more of the natural pieces, no chill filtering, no coloring, that kind of thing. But with that said, I do agree, man, that the notes on this are much more pleasant than that first one. Even though I do still think that first one to me was a little bit better than average, because I do like a sweeter dram, but this one definitely has more complexity by far. Great base whiskey for 21 years is the reason why I think this is such a great deal. Like Malt said, the bourbon casks on this are well done. Even though they're used American barrels, they're still good quality used ones. I'm trying to think of anything else I'm missing here, but I like the fact that it handles water well. You don't have to add it. You can add it if you wish. The oak that comes in after the water is too much in your face. It does have a good finish and a good medium, viscosity mouth coat, I'd say. The eggs hold up. The legs hold up. I'm thinking I might go a little bit higher, but not by much, because the craft is really what's holding this back. It is a good solid taste. So I'm going to be right at 3.75 out of 5 on this one. It's a good. I wish it was a bit more complex for the age, but yet the craft, I think, is really what dings the hell out of this as far as the score for me. But
Yeah.
I agree that even though I don't equate the value thing into it as much, I still do think it's a very well priced dram for what it
I
is.
totally agree. You gotta want, and this is the thing that I think is done well about this. When you see something that's aged in rum, you're thinking to yourself, I gotta want something that tastes like rum. What I think is the most important message about this Glenfiddich 21 is that you don't necessarily need to have that mentality with this, because I think it's so subtle and accented. Again, I keep saying accented, but it complements in a way that is subtle yet noticeable. And I feel like, I mean, I'm even still getting I am still sitting with the finish of this. There's a little eucalyptus thing going on.
Oh
There's
yeah,
there's a little bit of a mint, like a slight spearmint thing, sweet mint. Like, if you don't like a sweet dram, this might not be the thing for you. But you wouldn't be drinking Glenfiddich if you didn't like a sweet dram, because Glenfiddich is sweet.
true. Well,
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think the craft, bump this up to 43%, put it at non-chill filtered again, and I'm gonna just underline this. What the fuck, Glenfiddich? Like, y'all need to yo, you're gonna sell a 21-year-old whiskey. Apparently, they know the market better than me. Apparently, there's people out there spending $200 on a 21-year-old rum finished whiskey, and they're willing to spend $200 on it at 40%. Like, that's bogus to me. Drop this up to, Glenlivet is going in the wrong direction, sliding with their 18-year-old to 40%. Like, I'm sorry. I can't say that anybody who appreciates a good scotch should do that. But I also agree that, look, most professionals, quote unquote, who taste scotch drop this down to 30% to taste the distillate anyways. And I think that the water that we put on this, we probably dropped it to 35. And I'll tell you, this holds up. It didn't fall apart. It's well made. They're not they clearly knew that they didn't need to just sell some overly sweet dram. Yeah, man, there's not much to sneeze at. It's not a world beater, but it's not bad.
ooh, that's scary. Multiple higher end 21-year Glenfiddichs for $400 and still 40%. Man, that's
Terrifying, man. Again, the people that are probably hanging out in this chat, for the most part, beware. You don't need to. This ain't worth splurging on. I don't think this is light years better than the Balvenie. In fact, I think the Balvenie 14 is better. But I think this is a very competent whiskey. I appreciate that they didn't oversaturate it, and I enjoy it. And I don't know how many times I would reach for it if it was on the shelf, but I would say that every time I did, I wouldn't be upset.
yeah. I mean, if I want a really well aged bourbon cask whiskey, this would be one that, for the price, is how they kind of get you enticed to kind of go. And if you're like myself and you do prefer a sweet dram rather than like an herbal or floral or more of the savory drams, that kind of thing, then if that's more your wheelhouse, then I would take a stab at this one. But if you're more of like a Longmorn 16 fan or a Fire and Ice, a Highland Park Fire fan, or if you like more of a savory dram and you're not into the sweetness as much, stay far away from this kind of thing. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Because you will be very disappointed, I think, when it comes to that. Glenfiddich 15-year versus the 21. Ooh.
The 15 is that bourbon one?
The 15 is the Solera Reserve. I had that a few times. Thankfully, here in Annapolis, we've got a speakeasy that carries some various Solera, products. I'm sorry, Glenfiddich products. I'd say the Solera is really good. I think it's only 40%. Unfortunately, that's the drawback with a lot of Glenfiddich whiskeys. I guess are all around 40. It seems like no matter where you turn. I didn't know that. Looking back now, I'm kind of like, wow. I guess it is a great entry level, whiskey for people coming over from bourbon into Scotch. But with that said, I like this 21 a little bit smidgen better, but not by a whole lot. If this is to me as a 3.75, we'll say the Solera is a 3.5 out of 5. I'd say for
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, and again, at the end of the day, and I think like this is a good way to kind of like wrap up or like bookend this is like, I just don't think rum finishes are all that interesting on Scotch. I mean, I've not had one that I thought made a whiskey so good that otherwise, if it
even the Balvenie was a good.
Oh, I think the Balvenie is the best one I've had, but I still don't think it's some type of amazing dram. You know, like
Right.
it's good for what it does, but rum is a very sweet, fruity flavor, and like a lot of Scotch is that same. You know, I mean, especially when you're talking about Glenlivets and Glenfiddichs, and like these are sweet drams, and so like you're adding sweet to sweet. This 21 does it good. I think that, you know, the other one not so much, but Balvenie even too. But Balvenie, I think, has a more of a craft approach. So yeah, just to summarize for folks, on the Glenlivet Caribbean Reserve was a 175 from me and a 3.25 from Telex, and the Glenfiddich 21 Rum Cask finish 3.5 from Malt and a 3.75 from Telex. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's I agree that the rum thing, also a thing that I try to stay away from, unless I really already know that I'm into the particular version, is port maturations and port finishes. For me, are just as rough as rum ones, you know, a lot of the times, and it also depends on like the tawny, which is the aged port, versus the ruby port, which is the young. I tend to prefer the ruby because the fruits are more forward. Tawnies are good, but you have to do them exactly a certain way. And the only tawny ones that I usually get into so far are either from Glendronach or Glengoyne. I haven't had any other tawny port finishes that I can think of that were really memorably great. Can you think of any that you liked? Tawny versus port, ruby.
I'll be honest, I'm not a huge port fan, and so my disposition towards buying port finished whiskeys is a little bit limited. That said, I have had the Glen Scotia 14 tawny port, a sample provided by Whiskey Pilgrim, which I thought was really good. I have a full bottle of it coming. But that's the only tawny port. Yeah, that's the only tawny port I've actually had. So I'm actually pretty ignorant on it. I can't speak on it with any.
Aren't the teapot drams? Aren't those from?
No, the teapot dram is all ex-bourbon, if I'm not mistaken. Let me look. Teapot dram right here.
I could have sworn that one of those Glengoynes had some sort of tawny port.
No, this is all First Fill Oloroso, not ex-bourbon. My apologies. It's all First Fill Oloroso.
Oloroso, gotcha. Okay. Someone's asking about the Dalmore Port Reserve. I've never tried it. Have you tried any of their Port Reserve stuff?
Nope. I've not.
It's since I'm already really hesitant about doing. I mean, I tried the peated port from Glendronach. It took 45 minutes to open up for me. It was still only like a 3.5. I think even after waiting so long before
it was an NAS, right?
It's a 2.5. Yeah, but it was rough.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of great port. Like I've been sipping lately on this is, I mean, not to digress too much. This is a Foursquare exclusive cask rum. This is called the Detente, and this is a 10-year-old in ex-bourbon export, and I love it. It's a rum and export. I just, port is not like, it's not my favorite. You know, I just. I get a lot of the cherry, like the syrupy cherry cola note, the syrupy kind of cherry medicinal note, which is just not myself with ruby port. I do like Quinta Rubin quite a bit. The 12 I thought was better than the 14, but you know, port's just not like my go-to. But that said, I'm continually surprised by whiskeys that are aged in some port that are good. You know, like
One of my
it's
first One of my first $300 bottles I ever bought was a Springbank 19 port cask matured bottle. I
oh,
wish I still had that one to see your face if you tried it, because that one got me switched around to liking a good port matured, whiskey. But
there's always one out. There's one for everything, man. Ain't that the
unfortunately, it
truth?
was $280 to $300, maybe 320 even, and
Sure.
320 bottles actually made of it. And Springbank 19s are crazy to find, but that was a special bottle that it's hard to find anything like that. The only other taste I ever got like that was from the Tomatin's Decades. The first release of the Tomatin Decades was really something special. It had like 50-year-old, 40-year-old, 30 and 20-year-old whiskey in it. It was something.
Oh man, yeah.
It was only like $110, $120 at a whiskey place I found it at. I was surprised how cheap it was for all the old whiskey that Tomatin threw in it. But Tomatin's kind of
man. And speaking of whiskey, if it's cool with you, I'm gonna share a little preview of what we got coming up. We got
There's
some
a smart guy.
Yeah,
that was a good one, man. If you could find that, I'm not sure how much it would be nowadays, but that port cask matured is insane.
the one that I keep trying to find that I never can get my hands on is the Solstice Ben Riach 17-year-old port. There's a couple places online that say they have it, and then I order it, and then they're like, "Sorry, we don't have this anymore." I'm like, "God damn it!"
How much are you willing to pay for that one? Because I actually might not. I might know someone that has a few bottles of that. Possibly
$170.
$170. Let me write that down just to make sure I don't forget. I'll ask him if he wants to part with one of them and see what I can do, because that is a special bottle, man.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I mean, and I keep running into places that have it online, and then they write me back a day later and like, "Sorry, we don't have it." I'm like, "God damn it!" But in any event, well, Telex is that. Let me give you guys a little preview of what is coming up here in 2021 on the Telex and Malt Show. Tasty Tuesday. We got some good ones coming up, y'all. Next week, our number one, Ardbeg 10, a classic. We're going to revisit it. We're going to fall in love with it because it's the freaking best Peter's 10 you can get. That's just me. Our number two, we're going to go to the mat with the Ardbeg Black committee release versus the Ardbeg Black limited release.
Dustin and Steven's favorite bottles.
Dustin, be sure to tune in for that, because you're going to get some information that maybe you've missed about why the Ardbeg Black is what it is. Be here or be nowhere.
Be there.
The week after that, we're going to our good friend Glendronach. We're going to try 2 different Allardyce releases because of the weird way they were aged. We're going to be doing a 22-year-old and a 24-year-old Allardyce.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah, man. We're going to be jumping in with both feet into the higher aged 18-year-old Allardyces.
I can't wait.
After that, we're going to get a little crafty with it. We got a Glen Cadam 13-year-old or the Reawakening, followed by a Glen Cadam 21, and that will be on February 9th. And then, just to accent it, on the 16th of February, Glengoyne Teapot Dram Batch 7 and Glengoyne 21 years old.
Yeah.
So we got some great shows coming up. If you haven't done it yet, take a second, smash that like button. It does a lot to make sure that we can share our show with as many folks as possible. If you haven't subscribed, check out Telex the Whiskey Tech. Smash the subscribe button. Hit me up at Malt Muser Whiskey Reviews. Love your support. We're about to hit our 1-year anniversary coming up in a couple months. We'll have to do something special for that, Telex. I realized we didn't plan for it. But
yeah.
we started this during COVID, and we're going to keep going strong, y'all. And so we appreciate all the support you guys bring us.
Yeah, we've got so much lined up. We can hardly fit it into a year. I might have to, I don't know. We got so much coming in. It's insane. I picked up a Speyburn 25 that I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
Thing. We've got a possible Glen Elgin 18 and our Glen Org 18 we'll look at. Some Highland Parks I'll have to try to throw in there on the side. the Tobermory show I'm excited about because I know
Yeah.
Eric's not tried a lot of Tobermory, but I think you'll find the reason why some of the people like myself and Tosh and Roy, it's funny. Some of these distilleries will tell you that it's not for a beginner, but once you already go through a lot of these just different distilleries, some certain ones like Inchgour and Tobermory will stand out as being like they have a special craft to what they do. So I think that'll be an exciting show.
Oh yeah, that's going to be great, man. I can't wait for that. And yeah, I mean, and this is all just possible because of your guys' support. I mean, like Telex and I have known each other for some years now, but you all make this fun, and I hope you guys have been enjoying this so far, man. It's been almost a year, man. And yeah, we're gonna do that Tobermory. We got some great shows coming up. We're going to do 2 tastings of Compass Box 20th anniversary editions. We're going to do the Peat Monster Arcana and the Hedonism Felicitas. I mean, we got great stuff coming up.
And don't forget to throw in. I was looking through the box of the last stash that we traded with each other. Don't forget to throw the Dad's Hat and some of the other ones that you've already got.
Oh yeah. We got to schedule another bourbon show too. Yeah, we got to figure that out too. I mean, we're basically scheduled up. We got content ready for y'all through June.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's true.
Not sure why. Like we got stuff lined up.
I can't wait to open. I haven't opened it yet, guys. But this Edgedour 21 Oloroso cask I've got that's cask strength. Oh my god! When I get this to Eric, he's gonna spooge all over.
You said it.
It's so dark, man. I don't even know what to say. Sorry.
Look, man.
I don't let loose on that one.
Every time I've had an Edgedour of any single cask variety, I was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing!" And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Just a couple other things to tip people off on, like stuff we're going to do. So we're going to do a St. Patrick's Day Eve, because St. Patrick's Day is on a Wednesday this year. In March 16th, we are going to do Napogue Castle 14-year-old Twinwood. And then in the second hour, Redbreast 21.
That's going to be awesome.
We are going to bust out some serious Irish whiskey to celebrate St. Paddy's Day. As I said, take a second, man. Hit the thumbs up. Do subscribe if you haven't. We appreciate all your support, and we're going to keep this going regardless. But the more you guys are able to do to show us some love, the more folks that can join in, and hopefully we'll learn a little bit or two about whiskey.
Yeah, I'm so excited. That next show is going to be fun. Ardbeg fans, I'm sure, will stop by and give their praise, and people that aren't really up to their new offerings, I'm sure, will come in and give their comment.
I heard DH Silv 2 is going to bring his pom poms for that.
equal representation is fine. I don't mind some Ardbeg haters, but I am a big fanboy, I'll have to admit. So
Cohen will be there. I know Cohen will be there. I know Andrew Page, Ben Demon Hunter. I know Silverlock. We're gonna get into it with some Ardbeg.
Big Lunch next show is gonna be awesome too, man. I can't wait for all of these. It's crazy.
Yeah, we got a good lineup set up, man.
Well, I really appreciate everybody stopping by. I hate to cut it short, but I gotta do a couple things before I get ready for work tomorrow. But
I feel you, man.
I really, really appreciate y'all stopping by as usual, and we'll be definitely putting some more shows together. And if you guys have some favorites, let us know. We'll try to throw them in on the side if we can, and keep it going. And we're always up for some ideas too, as far as if there's a dram that if you think we both of us would like, let us know what you think it is, and one of us will try to see if we can pick it up too. That's
excellent,
all,
man. Awesome to hang out, and great to see everybody. Y'all have a great week. We'll catch you next Tasty Tuesday, man.
Sláinte, guys. See you for now.